Hey YouTube, this is Gabrielle with the Get the Gab, coming with the review of episode 3 of Gotham that came on Monday night. Um, First of all, like I said, I love this show so far. It's giving me everything that I need in Dark Knight, Batman, all that good stuff as of right now. Not as a comic book junkie, just a lover of shows and beginnings and all that good stuff. I loved it. So let's just get into it. It begins. This episode is called the Balloonman, and it begins with a guy who did Ponzi schemes named Ronald Danzer, and he gets attached to this weather balloon and taken up into the stratosphere, and so the episode begins with the investigation, starting there. And right at the beginning, Lieutenant Cranston meets Jim for the first time, and they link up and meet each other, greet each other, and all that good stuff. And Gordon lets his partner Harvey know that he has met up with him, and then they discuss how Mario Pepper actually didn't kill the Wayans and all that stuff. Gordon is just kind of not over it, but Harvey, is saying that, hey, he's the one who we saw kill, who we found to be the killer, and he tried to shoot you, so we killed him, and that's who we're going to say is the killer of the Waynes, and close that case. And I wish you would stop opening it. So, anyway, here in comes Child Services, or whatever they called them at the time, with Kat's character, who her name was Sylvie and Kyle, and her nickname is Kat. And she comes into Gordon, and she takes him to the scene where the Waynes were killed, because she tries to explain to him that she saw the murderer and all that good stuff. She tells him that his face wasn't covered the whole time, that she could see in the dark, and he's telling her, I don't believe you. She's saying, well, I stole the guy's wallet and I dumped it in the sewer over there, so if you check the sewer you can see. At this point, he handcuffs her to the stairs at the building, and she uses some kind of knife to pick the lock, and he gets into the sewer, sees the wallet, and she throws his handcuffs down to him, and she gets out. At this point, I'm seeing so many people pick locks out of every show, every movie. I'm getting to the point where I believe, like, if I was in handcuffs, I could pick the lock. Now, I've been in handcuffs before, twice or maybe 3 times, I can't remember. And every single time I take them off, I slide them off over my wrist. I just don't like to be in handcuffs. And so I just take them off. And then when I get out of the car or whatever I'm in, or, whatever the situation, I hand them to the officer and just say, like, here you go. And they kind of look at me weird, but it's just kind of like, I don't like handcuffs. So I just slide them off over my wrist or whatever. No matter how tight they are, I'm always going to pull them off. So it's kind of interesting to see so many people to be able to just unlock locks like that. But hey, whatever. So now we go to see Fish, who is Jada Pinkett's character, and her and Laszlo, who is her lover, are talking, and he's just kind of depressed or whatever. And while they're talking, the Major Crimes Unit, Detective Montoya and Alan come in to talk to Jada, looking for Oswald, who is a Penguin. And they look for Oswald, and she lets them know that he's dead. She also lets them know that Gordon killed him. And she's telling them, you shouldn't be asking why he killed him. You should be asking who put out the hit for him to kill him, and who was able to make a cop kill in cold blood. And so they get the information that Carmine Falcone is the one who put the hit out, and they get the inklings that Gordon is dirty, and now he is working for Falcone as a dirty officer. And they've been trying to bring Gordon down since episode 1. So this is good information for them. So now we get to where Oswald Cobblepot, who is actually Penguin, shows up. And there's a guy he shows up in a dark alley. There's a guy to the right side of the alley who sees him, calls him by his name, and says, "Hey, you're supposed to be dead. I'm pretty sure I can get a lot of money because I heard you were supposed to be dead. So if I turn you in, I'm pretty sure I can get some. So Penguin is pleading with him while the guy's dragging him down the alley, and he's like, "No, Gotham is my future." And the guy said, if Gotham is, I mean, if you're the future of Gotham, then Gotham is in pretty bad shape." And Penguin grabs a knife and cuts the guy at his ankle, and then he starts stabbing him and killing him in the alley across from a lunch truck, and nobody notices anything. And he just goes on about it, still robs him of $100, and then goes on about his business. After that, um, Alfred catches Bruce with his parents dead. Well, the pictures of his dead parents, and he's pretty much setting up the plot to start finding out who it is that really he's trying to get information. And he's telling Alfred, "Look, I already have nightmares, don't worry about that. I just want to find out who's the killer of my parents." So once we get back to that, once we get past that, sorry, um, the major crimes unit questions Gordon about Penguin because they just found out that he killed him, so to say, and they want to know what's going on and why he killed him, and just to let him know that they know that he killed him, or so-called killed him. So after that, let's see, major crimes. Penguin tries to get a job in the kitchen, and he's trying to. I don't know if he's trying to be a dishwasher, busboy, what he's trying to do, but whatever it is, he doesn't have the right shoes for it, and he spots the guy in the kitchen who's working, and I'm guessing he just sees that they have the same size shoe, so he's trying to say whatever he can to get the job. The guy who owns it tells him, "Look, you don't even have the correct shoes to work here, and you have to be on your feet a lot of hours, so no, I'm not gonna be able to give you a job." And so once he sees that he needs shoes in order to get the job, and that's the only thing holding him back, he leaves, and you can tell that he has a thought process in mind that he's going to get some shoes to help him to get that job, because that's the only thing that's really holding him back. So then we get to Gordon and Harvey are interviewing Jimmy, the weather balloon owner, who called the cops to report that the weather balloons were stolen from him. And once he lets them know what's going on, he gives them the name of the guy who stole them, and he also lets them know that it's 4 balloons that were taken and not just one. So once they find out that it's 4, they know that they have other targets that they are now looking for. The guy's name that they're looking for is called Carl Spickers, and they find out that he's not really the type that would kill, or who would even know who Ronald Danzer is, who's the first victim. They just know that he's a common thief, so he pretty much just stole them, and that's all the information they have right now to go on. So now we get to the part where they find Lieutenant Cranston is a crooked cop who is like shaking down a drug dealer for his fee. And next thing you know, he comes in contact with the Balloonman unknowingly, and the Balloonman hooks him up to a weather balloon, and he starts sailing into the sky. But before he starts sailing into the sky, Lieutenant Cranston beats up the Balloonman and grabs something out of his pocket, puts it into his own pocket, and then the Balloonman, while he's laying on the ground, connects Lieutenant Cranston to the weather balloon by his legs, and he floats into the air. So I don't really know. I don't know. I guess when you're dealing with a crime, or you're in a situation where you're about to be, something's about to happen to you, I guess everybody reacts differently. I just figured that some people would just react and think, "Let me get out of here. Let me get away from this person who's trying to, who knows my name, first of all, because if you call me by my name, that means you know something. So, or you set me up. So let me, skedaddle and move on out." But the lieutenant just kind of stood there and read the paper and was just like, "Who are you?" And by the time he figured out that something was going on, he was hooked up to the weather balloon and floating into the air. So then we get to the next scene where Bruce sees it on TV and he's kind of pondering in his head like what's going on and why is it that someone who is not the police trying to going against criminals, and why what is up with this and why is he doing it. So Alfred's kind of just telling them like, people want justice, and if they feel like the police aren't giving them justice, then they'll go after it themselves. Okay, so the next scene is Don Maroney comes into Penguin's job, and Don Maroney is, he's playing an Italian, and he's playing like a mobster or someone in the mafia at the time, and he's kind of just at the time just kind of talking to the boss, because first the boss was talking to Penguin after he had just gave him the job, and then Penguin sees that the guy's there, and they pretty much just shows that he's there at the moment, and he pretty much just rudely leaves talking to Penguin after he hired him to go ahead and have his conversation with Maroney. So the next thing is Carl Spitzer is staying with some big black chick, some strong black chick, look like she's been working out, and Gordon and Harvey go into their apartment that they share together, and excuse me, and they are wrestling. Of course, Harvey gets beat up by the big black woman, and then Gordon takes down Spitzer or Spickers. I wasn't sure how to say that. It's either Spicker or Spitzer, something like that. So anyway, after that scene, after they arrest him, the next thing is Fish, who is Jada Pinkett's character. She greenlit her boy toy Live Low, and also she put a hit out on Falcone's girl Nadia because she wants to go tit for tat since he beat up her boy toy. She wants to take out his, well, not take out, but she wants to beat up on Falcone's girl, who is Nadia. So she puts that head out, and then we get to the next scene with Gordon's, I don't know, fiance, girlfriend, or whatever, they are living together. So whatever they are, we get to Gordon's house where we find out that Barbara, his girl, used to be a lesbian with the major crimes detective Monyatta, what's her name? Detective Montoya, I believe. It's Montoya and Allen, so she's one of the other. So she used to be lesbians with her, and the girl has a key to the apartment that she shares with Gordon at the time. I believe that's what I caught so far. So anyway, they get the next scene switches to Spickers in the investigation room, and he is explaining the whole weather balloon situation and letting them know that weather balloons go into the atmosphere. It gets cold, they expand, and they burst, and then whatever is hooked onto them falls back down. And so that's, so sorry about that. So that's when we find out that, that's when we see the second victim, who is the dirty cop, fall back to the ground on top of a lady walking her dog or something, and they get the information out of his pocket that he had taken off of the weather balloon, off of Balloonman. Okay, so after that, after Spickers explains the situation with the weather balloons and how they fall, and right after the victim falls, we see that there is a third victim who is who's a priest. Now, let's see. Penguin is now going by Paulo or Pablo. Is the way he says it. I'm not sure exactly if it's Pablo or Paulo, but Pablo sounds more realistic. And Maroney starts talking to him. just getting the feel for him and pretty much telling him like, you don't look Italian, but if you say you're Italian, he says his mom is Italian, so hey, it is what it is. And he, as long as he knows the rules to say I haven't seen anything, then Maroni's cool with him. He's like, hey, good job, gives him a tip and say, hey, keep working towards being Italian. I believe he's the guy who's playing Maroni is actually Hispanic, I believe, because on Dexter, I believe he's Hispanic, but it doesn't matter. You can play whatever role you want to play. So anyway, um, Davis Lamont is who they find out it is because of Gordon finding that he finds the form that he had given him the day before. So they find out that the Balloonman is actually Davis Lamont, who works in juvenile services, and they did find out because of that form. So they go to confront Lamont, but they're looking for where he could be because he didn't go to work, and they find out he's in like the abandoned child facility, and they see that his van is there, so they go to confront him. And while they're trying to confront him, Gordon goes around to one side, Harvey goes around to one side, and Gordon comes back around. Gordon comes back around, and Harvey's, being taken, I guess, hostage by Lamont, or Balloonman. And so Balloonman has a gun to him, and pretty much Gordon is telling him like, hey, trying to talk him out of pretty much everything. And finally, it comes down to Harvey, pushing the guy, and the guy does shoot the gun. He just, he doesn't hit Harvey because Harvey gets out. I mean Gordon, because Gordon moves out the way, and Harvey pretty much beats the guy up and then hooks him up to his own contraption of the last weather balloon. And Gordon sees it, so he wants to be able to bring this man to justice. So he grabs onto the man and tells Harvey to shoot the balloon. They get up so high in the air. I want to say they're at least 20 feet in the air. They're way past where his van was, but for whatever reason, once the balloon is shot, they seem to only be 2 feet above the van when they come back down. That's the only unbelievable part that I've seen in Gotham so far, was when that balloon came down and they just happened to be right above the van instead of rising up above a building like they were previously. So anyway, that brings down the Balloonman, and Falcone meets up with Fish, where Fish finds out that Nadia actually was, she got into an accident, and Falcone is threatening, well, not threatening, but letting her know that whoever was in on Nadia's accident, they're gonna, be brought to justice in Falcone's language. So he's pretty much telling her that he knows. At this point, we're at the end of the show, and little Bruce sees that the Balloonman has been taken in, and he sees the Balloonman as a criminal because he killed people, even though he was getting justice for, people who were unable to get justice, and knew that these people wouldn't see, a jail cell. The last scene of the show was good because it was a what do you call it? It was a cliffhanger. Pretty much Barbara is trying to talk to Jim Gordon and just feel him out to make sure that he's really not the killer type that she figures that he's not, but that her ex-girlfriend told her that he was. And right when they're finished having this conversation, she gets up to make him a drink. The doorbell rings, and all of a sudden, our good friend, I want to call him by his real name, but I'm just going to say Penguin, is at the door. And he's like, hello, Detective Gordon. And so at that point, I mean, the audience knows that Penguin is back, but of course Gordon doesn't know that Penguin is back. So next episode we get to see exactly what happens, especially with Barbara knowing that her ex-girlfriend said that he killed this guy. So we're gonna find out what happens when everybody else finds out that Penguin is back in town. So anyway, what did you guys think of episode 3 of Gotham? Let me know. All right, have a good one.